Scott Parker said he's good to go. That's right. He'll be able to play this week.
Yeah.
And Kobe Roth too.
Yep.
He'll be good. So
Yep.
you'll have 18 skaters.
We got everybody that we got, minus the 5.
Without those 5, how are you anticipating the lineup looking? Is this going to be a 13 forwards and 5 defensemen? Or how do you handle this challenge?
You know what? I haven't kind of gone into that with a definite plan yet, but I know it'll be 12 and 5 for sure.
Okay.
But we'll see. We'll decide that probably the next day or so. I don't know. We probably would dress everyone. I don't. It's hard sometimes too if you've got an extra forward. Same thing. Sometimes the extra D. Sometimes those guys. I don't want to get them lost on the bench. But we'll see. We'll decide that here probably before Friday.
Pat can't play defenseman. He doesn't have any prior.
No D tryouts this week.
No
I thought about it, but it's a short window, so.
Yeah. Were you surprised to land 5 guys on the World Junior team, or did you start anticipating maybe even before the announcement?
No, I'm not surprised. I mean, I think I had a lot of good reports out of the summer camp for the 4 guys that were there. I know that I felt pretty comfortable that 3 of them going into the most recent camp were probably going to be on the team, and you just didn't know. Obviously, Scotty was a late addition, but I thought for us, he certainly had a great opportunity, and Riley finished with a good first half. So a lot of it depends on what they're looking for, but obviously we knew Joey was going to be on there, and I felt Mikey and Dylan, based on what I heard from the summer camp, and was good. But it's awesome. It's a great experience for those players. Obviously, 2 of them, in Dylan and Mikey, had the opportunity to play again next year because of their age. But for Riley, who didn't get that opportunity last year, I think he's more ready for it this year. He had a good first half. He's leading our team in goals. He's played well from every indication I've heard from their staff. And obviously, Joey's Joey. He's going to go there and do a great job as a leader. And it's just fun. It'll be fun to watch. It'll be fun to watch. And for us, thank God it's only 2 games.
Joey being named captain of Team USC, he's a guy I'm guessing that you see as a future leader of this program as well, right?
Yeah,
if he isn't already.
Yeah, I think his day-to-day routine and the details, his work habits, those things. I wasn't surprised that he was going to be, one of their captains. It's awesome that he's the captain, but just with the things Bob said about him, obviously is a returning player, and just all those things I mentioned. I mean, he's very consistent in the day-to-day work habits, details to his game, the way he plays, versatility, all those things. So I think it's great.
Scott, what does this break do for your team that you just had?
Well, good thing you didn't catch me after the first part of the skate. No, you know what? It was good. It was much needed. You know what? We didn't have any weekends off in the first half. I mean, obviously we went through a tough stretch in November with some injuries, and I thought it was really important to win the last game in Omaha before we went into break. And it's good for guys to get away and kind of recharge, and a little rust yet, but we'll trying to work that out before we play on Friday. But it's a good opportunity right now for some players that hadn't played in a while to get back in that mix and contribute, and that's why you're a team. So for our guys, we're a little short on the back end, but we'll try and manage that as best we can. But I think we've got enough with Shep playing the way he is, and the guys we have in there, that we can go in there and win 2 games, and then after that we've got another break, which was a little bit by design. So I think the biggest thing is just getting away and kind of recharging, getting away from each other. It's good for both coaches and players, and getting guys back here excited to go in the second half.
And I mean, it's really going to be a grind in the second half.
Yeah, it's when you look at after this weekend, when we get into league play, we've got a real tough stretch of 8 or 9 games, and then another break. So. But that's good. That's good. We'll get to work on some things after this weekend, and even though we won't have everybody back yet, we'll get back into it with those guys before we go to CC. But they're playing, and they're playing at a high level. They're going to probably need some rest too when they get back, so we'll have to manage that a little bit. But it'll be nice to be able to go and just kind of work on some things next week and kind of get back at it after playing a couple games here.
Scott, do you have a forward that you might move back to defense if you decide to go that way?
I'm going to pick the fastest skater, so maybe Billy. No, Carson said he's done a little bit, but I think he can handle that. We probably got a couple guys that could manage it for a little bit, but we'll just go with the 5, and hopefully we don't get into too much penalty trouble or anything else.
So obviously the 5 that are there, we're used to seeing and hearing their names every Friday and Saturday night. This gives an opportunity now for some new names to step up and get some points, right?
Well, you look at Jared Hilderman's missed, the last 5 or 6 games, and it's been, Nick McCormick, a senior. Those guys have played a little bit, and Hildy's played more, but it gives those guys an opportunity to get back in the mix. And like I said, those guys, when they come back from the tournament, I don't know if they're going to be extremely tired. I know Joey was last year, but, we're going to manage that with, seeing where they're at and giving them the appropriate days off. But, certainly those guys are important parts of our team. But we need those guys that haven't played to step up and get back in the mix here and create that competition down the stretch, because I don't want any complacency, regardless of whether guys are coming back from the World Juniors or not. And, we've got some forwards too, that are going to get back in there too and get an opportunity. We got our lines are different again, which, it seems we're kind of going back to like the way it was in November, but that's the way it goes. And we feel we have enough there to go in and win hockey games and play smart and do the things we need to do for 2 games to start the new year off the right way.
How well do you feel those guys handled that back in November? Guys constantly, their roles kind of changing and being bumped up and down and all around the lineup.
You know what? I thought, for the most part, Matt, I thought we did a pretty good job. I mean, there was a couple Fridays we won, and aside from the St. Cloud weekend, I thought we were a little banged up and mentally tired after Maine, and some of that mental tiredness was the fact that we were missing some guys. So there might have been a little feel sorry for ourselves, mentality going into St. Cloud. But I thought after that, our guys responded with a good win against Western, a good win against Miami, and we had 2 situations where we could have won, 6 points and got 6 points on the weekend, and we didn't do that. But it was difficult because I felt we were going the right direction at the end of May, or at the end of October, with being 3-0-2 and having a real good road sweep at Maine. And next thing you know, you're going into the next week against one of the best teams in the country, and we're guessing to see who's playing and who's not. And obviously some of those guys were out long term, but I hope in the long run it makes us better, because some guys got that opportunity at that point, and kind of going through the same thing again. Those guys were the guys that did get that opportunity that are going to be in there again, this weekend, and hopefully challenge the rest of the year.
Scott, realistically, your record is kind of the evidence of how tough the league is, because you've played very well. How many games would you say so far that you played that you really thought were clinkers?
We certainly have had, parts of games. I mean, I didn't like the 2-5-0 losses on Saturdays. I thought we played fairly well for a period against St. Cloud in that game Saturday, and I thought Western was a little bit different, but they were just a better team. And we've had some good moments. Sustainability for us is important, and just being consistent, a little better play consistently over the course of a game. We haven't been able to. We've been a good starting team, a much better starting team, I think, than we've been last year, but we just seem to maybe not be able to sustain it. I think that's a little bit of we had a very mature team last year. This team is not quite as mature. It's hopefully growing into that. It's not just because they're young guys, it's just some experience. And I think that team last year, they always felt like they're going to win a game, no matter what the score was. It's almost like we played better when we spotted teams. Not a great recipe, but it worked. But it's been a little bit different, but there's been some really good parts to our team, and I just think the consistency level needs to pick up. Obviously, our special teams need to get better. Our power play needs to start scoring. Just all those things need to improve for us to have more success.
about the penalty kill and staying out of the box this weekend. Is that need for discipline a little more amped up because you only have 5 defensemen this weekend?
Yes, that's a good point. It is all the time, but certainly this weekend too. And again, these guys are going to play. We're going to have some different guys in the power play, and all those guys are going to be part of the penalty kill. So we just need to play as much 5-on-5 as we can.
You take those 5 guys back from the junior team and have that be a power play, couldn't you?
We could, but we're not getting them. So I'm not really worried about them right now. I'm just worried about trying to get what we've got here going.
So you touched on the fact that you think your team's better at starting this year than last year. What other positives have they done this year? It's been 3 months now. You probably have a good idea of the rhythm of the team.
I just think I've seen some really high levels with our team. We just haven't been able to sustain it. And again, to me, it's a consistency. I thought last year's team had a really good demeanor. They were very consistent. This team might have at times more flashes, but the consistency level in your overall play is needs to be better. We just need to be better from start to finish in games. In a lot of the situational things, like I said, special teams, all those things need to be better. But I've seen some of our young guys be exceptional for young players. I think our young D-core, for me, was probably everyone's question mark going in, but I think they've fared pretty well. I like the fact our goaltending, Shep has been good for us here the last month and a half. He's given us some consistency versus the first month, where it was I think, but that's our whole team. So I think that's helped our team a little bit too, and hopefully that can continue, because if he can give us that play and give us a chance to win every night, it's the other guy's job to make sure that we support him in that role.
What years do you draw from your coaching experience? Does this remind you of any other teams, or are there things that challenge you as a coach?
Well, there's a lot of things that challenge me. There's been moments I've thought, the year after we won, we lost some pretty good defensemen, and I think that group came in and did a pretty good job. We didn't play 4 or 5 freshmen a night. We probably played 2 or 3, but we lost some pretty good players in Falk and Montgomery and guys like that, and those guys. So there's some similarities there, but I think this group's been better as far as the way they've played. And then there's times I've looked at it like this is like when the early years where I'm going, whoa, but some of that is good. I think some of that's good, but the injuries didn't help. I don't like to. You guys know I'm not an excuse maker, but when you kind of get some momentum going at the end of a month and you're going into league play, especially going into St. Cloud. I'm not saying we would have went in there and beat them twice. I'd like to think that we could have, but. We had a chance Friday, but it was hard going through that because we didn't know week to week, and we were changing some lines and the chemistry, and we had some things going the right way, and it kind of all got jumbled around, and that's why I say hopefully in the long run, different guys playing with each other, they're used to those situations, so there's a little bit of adversity, and I think adversity makes you stronger. So hopefully those things are helpful to us.
Scott, is this a weekend where you lean on a veteran line like that Spurl, Exel, and Young group? Right?
I'm going to lean on everybody, Matt.
I was going to say, or
you know what?
Jared
Yeah,
Thomas,
everyone.
Avery,
This is going to be. We're going to have to go in there, and everyone's going to have to, play well for us to win. Certainly, Yale's a fast team. They're maybe down a little bit from. I think they're a younger team too, but they play a game with a lot of speed. So we've got some challenges, and that's really the only game I care about right now is that first one. So we're just trying to get our guys up to speed, and we're going to need everybody. We're going to need everybody from Shep to our 5D to the 12, 13 forwards. So everyone's going to have to be a factor and play well, and if we have any passengers, it's going to make it harder.
We talked about this, the icebreaker, seeing 2 teams in 2 different days. You like getting your young guys in tournaments like this because it kind of does prepare them for things down the road?
Well, I just like playing games, and so, I think it's a good trip to take, especially knowing maybe the next week we don't play, and I like the fact we're not sitting around another week, but I think any games are good. you know, they're different because it's two different opponents, but at least we know what the opponents are going into this, right? When you go into some tournaments, obviously you don't know who your next opponent's going to be. You know, the NCAA tournament's a little bit different. But some tournaments, you know, it's so from the pre-scouting a little bit, it helps knowing your kind of predetermined opponents. But it'll be fun to see two different teams, and hopefully we can play well. And like I said, start the second half off on a good note.
And you said you're focusing on Yale, but what does stand out to you about Dartmouth? Which got
I haven't watched any tape on them,
Nope.
so that'll tell you what it stands out.
How do you go about that scouting, Brett? Do you wait till Friday night to look at them, or?
No, I'll watch some of it this week. I've tried to take a break too, so we've got the special teams down. That's the most important thing. 5-on-5, well, not a lot of things changed, so.